Hi everybody. Today we're going to be working with the Microbits and Pixel LEDs. So I need you all to please go to the MakeCode editor. We're going to create a new project today and we're going to call this LEDs Day 1. Okay, so first thing we need to do is we need to grab an extension today for our Microbit. Extensions allow us to do things other than like what the Microbits natively can. So it's basically code that others have written for us that we can bring in and utilize for our projects. Today we're going to use the Neopixel driver. All right. So let's just kind of talk about Neopixels. If you look at the Neopixel in front of you, there are 8 LEDs on there. There is a red wire, a black wire, and a white wire attached to those LEDs, okay? So the white wire, that is your data communication. All of basically the instructions for the LEDs are gonna come in through the white wire, and that's gonna be attached to pin 0. As a matter of fact, if we take a look at like this drawing right here, or this picture rather, and we look at the wiring, in this picture the white wire is yellow, okay, but ours is going to be white. So the white is going to attach to the 0 part. The red is going to attach to plus 3 volts. This is where we're going to get the power for our LEDs. And the black is going to attach to ground. The black is where we are going to connect ground back. So power comes in through the red. It's going to come back through ground. But then all of the instructions for actually like what color they're going to be, when they should change color, stuff like that is going to come through channel 0 and the white wire. All right. So when you go to wire those up, preferably you wire that up before you connect power to your Microbit. So before you connect them to your computer. So let's pause the video and get it wired up right now, please. Okay, so let's shoot into the Neopixel extension. And the first thing that we need to grab within here is we're going to create this variable. Variables allow us to like add information to a name, typically numbers. All of this information that's being written in here is converted to a number. Like when we look at JavaScript, it tells us exactly like what's going on within here. We have our pixels connected to P0. So again, like the white wire is going to connect to P0, the red is going to connect to 3 volts, and the blue is going to connect to ground. We have 8 LEDs on our strip, and they're in RGB format. Without this line of code for everything else that you do, things won't work. All right. If we create more of these, it's going to like rename the variable. So just make sure that everywhere it says strip. All right. That's just like the generic name for the strip of LEDs that we have. So at this point right now, we've created this this variable named strip, and strip now says, okay, we have Neopixels connected at pin 0, we have 8 of them, and they are in a red, green, blue format. So that's the initial instructions that we have for these. And the first thing we're going to do is just make them light up a particular color. So we're going to go to Neopixels, and we are going to grab the strip show color red. We can change this to be yellow, for instance. And if you give it a few seconds, you'll see over here on the side, you're gonna see your like 8 LEDs and they're yellow, right? In order to make it big, I just move my mouse over top of this, all right? If I change this to be like violet, they're gonna go to purple, you know, once we're set up over here. So once again, I'll take you to pause the video, try this, upload it to your Microbit, and see it in real life. Okay, so we've got our strip set to our color. We're gonna add a little bit more to it at this point here. So again, we still need particularly this first line of code. If we were to get rid of the second line of code, our purple would turn off. We could do other things, but without the first line of code, it just won't work because we need to define what strip means, and that happens up here. So anyways, we're gonna go to input and we're gonna say, okay, when we press the A button, we're going to now set like one of our pixels to be a particular color. So when we go looking for this here, you know, we've got a bunch of different like stuff in the first bin, but if you click on Neopixels, there's a more box that opens up, okay? So here we have more options for Neopixels. Notice that like if I'm not on Neopixels, we don't see the more. So you gotta click Neopixels first, then more. What are we gonna, we're gonna set a pixel color to a particular thing. This is gonna be on button A press, okay? So here we're referencing strip, which again is the thing that we've set up here. So just like we did right here too. And we're gonna say, we wanna set pixel, I don't know, like, let's say 3 to the color red. Now, if we were just to load this, it wouldn't work yet. We need to bring in the show command. So here we're able to take, again, like what we've defined, which is our strip. And now we're saying that we want it to like show or like update what we've done, all right? So my code is loaded now. We can see my purples. We notice the fact that there's no red, but that's because I haven't pressed on my input. So we're gonna press on A, and now we see that this pixel has turned red. And you might ask yourself like, why is it the 1, 2, 3, 4th one? The reason for that is that we start counting in digital electronics in general at the number 0. So 0 is our first option. Notice it says up there offset 0. Then we have offset 1, offset 2, offset 3. So when I specify the third LED to light up, what I'm actually specifying is the offset 3, which is the 4th one in the list. So for instance, if I were to change this to a number 8, it wouldn't even work because we have pixels 0, or we have 8 pixels, but they're labeled 0 through 7. So when I press A now, notice nothing turns on. So, you know, if I change this to be 7, now my last pixel is going to light up red when I click A. Okay? So give that a try, please. Let's pause and give that a try. All right. Next, we're going to try and create some like custom colors and take a look at that. So once again here, we're going to go to Input. And we're gonna grab on button A pressed. We're gonna change this to a B. All right. So we need the strip show color violet. And notice how like the show is already built into here. So right down here, it doesn't say anything about showing in the first. That's why we need to add this block of code in here. But when we grab strip show color red, it's already like building in the show. Now, this only gives us so many options. However, we can create custom options. So underneath of more, under Neopixels, at the bottom, you're gonna see this right here, okay? Red 255, green 255, blue 255. So when we look at an LED, like an LED TV or screen or whatever it might be, when each pixel has a red, a green, and a blue in it, and those values range from 0 to 255. 255, the LED is like completely on, 100% on, and it's the brightest that it can be. When it is 0, it's completely off. It's not on at all. And when it's like in between, like let's say 127, which is exactly in between, then it's about 50% power. So if we have like a red, a green, and a blue all the way on, that gives us basically a white color. Typically, you might need to modify red a little lower to make it white and reality, but it's going to give you about a white. And when we look at the simulator, it shows up as gray, so it's like kind of boring over here in the simulator. Same thing to be said, if we set them all to 0, that's equal to the color black. Black also is going to be pretty boring on the simulator in a gray pattern, all right? But let's say that we want to create a teal color. So teal is blue. So again, like 255 is a full blue, and we combine green with that. So 255 green, 255 blue. When we hit the B button, we get like a teal. If I change these both to 127, and I click the B button, we get a teal again, but it's not quite as bright as it was before. And if you work on this with like your actual pixels, you're gonna have an even better shot of that. So like I can change this to say like 25 and 25, like a really low value. And your LEDs will be like a very dim teal. We can create other colors as well. For instance, like a red and a green, let's do like 200 of each, is going to give us a yellow color. So if I hit B, it's going to give us a yellow color. So I'll include a link in the description below, but this is just like an RGB color code sheet, and like you could Google RGB color codes and come up with like a bunch of different things, you know? But like for instance, number 46 is this like orange color, 255, 102. So if I come back and I put in 255, was it green that was 102? Yeah, so green, right? RGB, RGB, so green is going to be 102. So 102, and I hit the B button. You can see now we have that like orange. So you can like play around with some different colors. You can make your own. You can take a look at the RGB color code sheet and you can play around with that. So why don't you take a few minutes to create some custom colors and try it out. All right, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get our LEDs to like have a rainbow on them, and then we're gonna get that rainbow to like move throughout the strip, all right? So for right now, we're just gonna get rid of on button A and button B press. We are also going to get rid of strip show color, whatever color you have in here. Once again, you still need the first line of code, all right? So we're still setting our variable strip to the Neopixel at pin 0 with 8 LEDs. Okay, so now under Neopixels, we're gonna say strip show rainbow from 1 to 360. So once again, because show is already built into here, we don't need to tell it to show it. And here we can see like our rainbow, right? We have Roy G. Biv. Then it goes back to like red again. So red, orange, green, you know, getting into the teals, the blues, the violets, and then it goes back to red again. That's because right now we are showing a rainbow from 1 to 360 like kind of degrees. You can think about it in some ways like a circle. It's like the full spectrum of the rainbow. If I were to change this to be 180 degrees or 180, it's half of the rainbow. Okay, so now you can see, like, we just see like the Roy G portion of it, basically, right? We see like the reds, the oranges, the yellows, the greens, and like we're starting to get into the blues. A lot more like detailed as far as what's going on in here, but we just see from there to there. So we can mess around with these numbers as we go through. Right now I'm going to set it to be 360, okay? So we have our rainbow, it's showing up. Let's start to make it move. Actually, before we make it move, pause, get your rainbow to show up, and then come back again. Awesome. Now that you have your rainbows loaded up, let's start to make them move. So again, we're going to grab the on button A pressed. We're going to like initiate this process with the A input. And we're going to go through and create like a couple different things. So we're going to have this loop around like 100 times we'll start with. So we're going to go to loops. We're going to grab a count controlled loop. So right now we're going to repeat this 4 times, but we're going to change that to be 100. Underneath of Neopixels, you're going to find a piece that says rotate pixels by 1. So again, we're referencing the strip variable. So if we don't set our strip up here, you're going to see an exclamation mark in there. Or if the name up here is different than it is anywhere else, you're going to see an exclamation mark also. So we're going to rotate our pixels by 1. We are going to pause for like a particular amount of time. Let's just say 1/10 of a second. And then again, because this doesn't say show in it anywhere, we need to like update our strip. So again, when we look over here, we don't really see anything, but when I press the A button, you're going to start to see like our rainbow shifting throughout the different pieces, okay? And again, it's going to shift 100 times. So that means like every pixel is going to shift once 100 times. And then it's going to stop, all right? So we can press it again, and we can see this, right? And you can change your numbers too to like see what happens if you try different values. So again, here's like much less of the rainbow. So when I click A now, you can see that like we only see those portions of the rainbow within here. So I'm gonna pop this back to 360. Why don't you all give that a try? Play around with that and get your LEDs to go through the rainbow. Alrighty folks, that is all that we have for today. If you still have some time left in class, I want you to just like continue to play around with the LEDs. As class runs towards the end, you should put your microbit and wires back in your bag. Your LEDs will stay separate of it. For today, you can just put all of that stuff in the center of your table for the next class to come. Hopefully you had fun today and learned something new about the microbit and working with the LEDs. Tomorrow we'll do a few more advanced projects with the LEDs using some sensors and try out some stuff, all right? So have a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.